Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. I never imagined that a simple gut feeling could turn my life upside down, but here I am, sitting alone in my living room, replaying the events of the past few weeks over and over in my head. My name is Daniel, I'm 36 years old, and I thought I knew my wife, Emily, better than anyone else in the world. We've been married for 8 years, together for 12. On paper we had the perfect life. Nice house, stable jobs, 2 beautiful kids, and what I believed was a strong foundation built on trust. But it turns out, all that time, I was living in a carefully constructed illusion. It started with small things, the kind of things you dismiss at first. A text message left open on the counter. A phone call cut off abruptly when I walked into the room. A sudden need for late nights at work that didn't quite add up. I told myself I was overthinking, that maybe I had been too controlling or insecure. But there was a voice in my head, quiet at first, whispering that something wasn't right. And then came the night that confirmed my worst fears. I had planned a normal evening, just dinner with Emily and the kids. But Emily seemed distracted, scrolling on her phone, laughing at something I couldn't see. I tried to make conversation, to ask her about her day, but she brushed me off with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. It was subtle, but I noticed. My gut tightened, a familiar anxiety creeping in. And then, while she stepped into the kitchen to grab a drink, her phone buzzed on the counter. I caught a glimpse of the screen, just enough to see a name flashing repeatedly, Mark. Something about the familiarity of the name, the frequency of messages, set off alarms in my head. I didn't confront her immediately. I wanted proof, undeniable evidence. I waited for the right moment, watching her reactions, noticing patterns. She became defensive whenever I asked about her day, her eyes darting away, hands trembling slightly when I casually mentioned the name Mark. That was enough to push me into action. I needed to know the truth before it completely destroyed me from the inside out. Late one night, when she was asleep, I started piecing together her digital trail. The texts, the hidden apps, the private browser history, everything pointed to the same terrifying reality. Emily wasn't just talking to someone. She was meeting him. Planning to see him behind my back. And the final piece fell into place when I found a series of photos on her cloud storage, pictures of her with Mark in a hotel lobby, laughing and close, intimate in a way that made my stomach turn. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was physical, tangible, undeniable. I spent hours staring at the screen, trying to reconcile the woman I thought I knew with the one in those pictures. I remembered the mornings she used to wake me up with coffee and a smile, the weekends we spent building forts with our kids, the late-night conversations about dreams and fears. Every memory now felt tainted, like a movie edited after the fact to make me look foolish. My mind raced with anger, hurt, and disbelief. How could she do this to me? How could she throw away years of shared history for something fleeting, something meaningless? I knew I couldn't confront her directly without a plan. I needed the truth exposed, not just in my mind but for her to face reality. I started documenting everything, creating a timeline of her lies, her movements, her interactions with Mark. I wanted to be methodical, to make sure that when I confronted her, there was no room for denial. The stakes were high. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about protecting myself, my kids, and the life I thought we shared. The first step was subtle. I asked her to help me with an errand, casually suggesting we stop by a local coffee shop. I knew from my research that she had a pattern of meeting Mark near certain locations. As we approached the shop, she became tense, checking her phone repeatedly, fidgeting with her bag as if hiding something. I stayed calm, pretending to browse my emails, watching her reactions carefully. And then, as I had suspected, her phone buzzed. The message was from Mark. "See you tonight?" I could feel my pulse spike, my hands tightening around the steering wheel. I didn't say a word. I let her continue, pretending I hadn't seen. But inside, a storm was raging. The next day, I decided it was time to escalate. I created a scenario where she couldn't avoid me noticing her patterns. I asked her to drive me to a friend's house, and we passed by a hotel where Mark had booked rooms repeatedly. I watched her face closely as we approached. The slightest flicker of recognition, the subtle avoidance, it was all there, confirming what I already knew. By this point, my plan was clear. I needed her to confront the consequences of her actions, to face the truth in a way she couldn't escape. I started gathering evidence discreetly, setting up scenarios where her duplicity couldn't be hidden. It wasn't about public humiliation. It wasn't about shaming her. It was about clarity, accountability, and finally taking control of the narrative of my own life.